See what's new on NWCN Northwest Cable News.
It's a new primetime lineup.
Northwest NetWatch shows you how to make the most of the internet.
Evening Magazine brings you unique stories from your hometown.
NWCN, the Northwest 9 o'clock news. Get the stories of the day at an earlier time.
Northwest Sports Tonight focuses on your favorite local teams.
And Northwest Extra goes deeper into the top stories of the day.
It's a new primetime lineup on NWCN Northwest Cable News.
A cable exclusive on AT&T Broadband Channel 49.
This Week in History, brought to you in part by Jaguar.
Tonight, they were 3 minutes that redefined the nation. This week in 1863, Lincoln delivered his Gettysburg Address. One contemporary speechwriter reveals the keys to the address's unique power.
It is a bit of prose poetry that has never been equaled. I think it's Shakespearean.
And explains why there will never be a political speech like it ever again.
Part of Lincoln's greatness was that he was willing to personally pay the price for doing what he thought was right.
Also tonight, Blackbeard the Pirate. Could he have been a visionary leader?
He was an extraordinarily successful image maker. He created this image with the beard, which was unusual. This was an age in which most people were clean-shaven. That's to create an image of the devil.
We'll uncover the truth behind the legend. Biotech companies, genetically modified food, cloning. We live in a world where genetic engineering is almost commonplace. Tonight, one of the fathers of modern genetics reveals the dark side of this cutting-edge science.
The thing that worries me most is the use of genetics to distinguish between people, to class certain people as inferior and certain people as superior.
All this week.
Hello, I'm Josh Binswanger.
And I'm Giselle Fernandez. Welcome to This Week in History.
Tonight we'll be bringing you some of history's most memorable events. They didn't all happen the same year, but they did all happen the same week. This week, the week of November 17th to the 23rd.
It was this week in 1863 that Abraham Lincoln was almost not invited to the Gettysburg Memorial dedication ceremony. Believe it or not, some of the event's organizers feared that the president, who was known for his sharp wit, might make an embarrassing off-the-cuff remark that would ruin the seriousness of the occasion.
But there was nothing off the cuff about the words Lincoln spoke on that day. In fact, his speech helped solidify the nation.
It is the most famous speech in American history. After almost 140 years, Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address is still admired by millions around the world.
It is a bit of prose poetry that has never been equaled. I think it's Shakespearean.
Peggy Noonan has an inside perspective. She herself is a presidential speechwriter who has penned many famous lines, including George Bush's speech to the Republican National Convention on August 18, 1988.
We're a nation of community, of brilliant diversity, spread like stars, like 1,000 points of light in a broad and peaceful sky.
Peggy Noonan believes she knows what made the Gettysburg Address so powerful and why today's speeches pale in comparison. July 3rd, 1863, the last day of the Battle of Gettysburg. In the small Pennsylvania town, the Confederates' largest invasion of the North is turned back, but at a cost of unimaginable losses. More than 20,000 killed or wounded on each side. Lincoln faces a political crisis. He fears that calls will soon begin for a reconciliation with the South that would leave slavery intact. With such tremendous casualties, he must write a speech that will convince the nation to fight on. Modern speechwriters like Peggy Noonan have to listen to opinion polls. Lincoln could ignore them.
If that kind of terrible war were being fought now, a modern American president would hear from pollsters and from focus groups All that president would be told is 92% of the American people are against this war. They feel that things should be negotiated. Part of Lincoln's greatness was that he was willing to personally pay the price for doing what he thought was right.
Lincoln's opportunity to persuade the nation to continue the fight comes a few months after the battle. He is asked to deliver just a few brief remarks at the dedication of a new national cemetery in Gettysburg. In many accounts, Lincoln writes the speech in the back of an envelope as he travels to the dedication. But the writings of Lincoln's secretaries show this is just a myth. He drafts the speech over several weeks, not several days. The speech is much too important to treat lightly. November 19th, 1863. Throngs of veterans, politicians, and citizens gather in Gettysburg to honor the battle's dead. Surprisingly, the main speaker of the day is not Abraham Lincoln. It is the country's most famous orator, Edward Everett. Everett's address lasts 2 hours. Harold Holzer is a Lincoln expert and a former speechwriting advisor to Mario Cuomo.
Edward Everett quoted freely from scripture, from literature, from ancient history. We would call it bombastic. In those days, it was considered very entertaining, a good show.
Lincoln follows. In contrast to Everett's deep baritone, Lincoln speaks in a high-piercing Kentucky accent to a crowd of 10 to 20,000.
That's a heck of a lot of people listening close to a guy who has no microphone. So I used to imagine that he would get up and start to speak at Gettysburg, and I wondered if people at the front of the crowd would hear and then yell back, "He's saying 77 years ago," and if it rippled back in the way that a microphone today has an almost echoing effect.
77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
As rhetoric, it is a masterpiece of compression. Look at the first 30 words. In those 30 words, he takes care of the birth and meaning of the birth of the United States.
Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure.
Then he defines what the Civil War is. So quickly, so briefly, so irrefutably.
Lincoln goes on to consider the meaning of sacrifice. Minutes later, he concludes with a battle cry, a recommitment to the struggle begun in the American Revolution.
We here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Lincoln has distilled his message that the war is not just to preserve the Union, but to create equality for all into just 10 sentences, 271 words. The address is over in less than 3 minutes.
Edward Everett himself wrote to Lincoln the next day and said, "I wish I could have come as near to the central idea of the occasion in 2 hours as you did in 2 minutes."
As brief as Lincoln's speech is, perhaps most important is what he doesn't say. He never uses the word Union, slavery, or Gettysburg. Instead, he carries out a brilliant sleight of hand by redefining our nation.
I think his political rhetoric, it was truly ingenious. He links the struggle to the Founding Fathers and to the Revolution.
Lincoln makes it seem self-evident that our country's defining document is not the Constitution, which recognizes slavery. Even more fundamental, he says, is the Declaration of Independence, written 11 years earlier, that promises equality to all. Some newspapers attacked Lincoln, accusing him of subverting the Constitution. Yet over time, this single speech changes Americans' vision of their nation, creating a new commitment to democracy and equality. Ironically, Noonan believes that a presidential address of such power is unlikely to ever be written again. By the time a modern speech is delivered, 50 to 150 people have commented on it.
And by the time their comments are taken, considered, and included, by the time their recommended deletions are accepted and a paragraph is taken out, a speech that might have started out important and memorable can wind up looking like a dog's dinner.
Thankfully, Lincoln never wavered in his conviction. In our darkest hours, the president offered a poetic vision that redefined our nation.
Believe it or not, if Lincoln had followed the travel arrangements made by the White House, he may not have made it to Gettysburg on time. His staffers planned for him to take a 6 a.m. train on the morning of the ceremony, which probably would have made him late for the event. Fortunately, Lincoln felt that delivering his address was so important that he decided to leave a day early to ensure that he would arrive on time. Coming up, we'll witness the birth of the science of genetics. Stay with us. Can you guess our notable person of the week? He was a bookkeeper who became a powerful politician. He combined those skills to steal millions of dollars from government coffers and was convicted of fraud 127 years ago this week. Who is this notable person? The answer when we return.
The unexpected XJ8 from $56,950.
Need some holiday gift ideas? Well, remember, it's the little things that make Christmas Christmas. And at Walgreens, you'll find all those things. There are great gifts for everyone on your list, like these Galileo thermometers. Techno, the robotic puppy. The more you teach him, the smarter he gets. Denim shirts and Fruit of the Loom sweatshirts. Polaroid's Photomax digital camera kit. And Eggwave, the microwave egg cooker. Walgreens, making Christmas merrier.
Now that I got TiVo and I can watch whatever I want, I want to do whatever I want. I've never felt so empowered. I don't want a puppy. I want the tiger. I watch what I want. I do what I want. Hallelujah! Not everyone understands. I want the tiger. Then again, not everyone's got TiVo.
Learn more at TiVo.com.
Hi, I'm Joe, and this is Tommy. We love Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. First thing we do when we come out here is we get on our tiger stripes, what we call markings. I'll do Tommy, and then he does me. It's a ritual. They're stripes. Yeah, there are stripes. That's exactly what they are. Good, good. I think you're gonna get a tail this trip.
You think so?
I think you're gonna earn a little. I think you're gonna earn your tail.
Whew. They're great.
For thrilling action and the chance to win a thrilling adventure, U571 scores a direct hit.
Success, gentlemen.
It's the U571 Ship to Shore Sweepstakes. Your chance to win a trip for two to Hawaii, where you'll stay for 5 days at the Hilton Hawaiian Village. Get an Alamo rent-a-car, $500 in cash, and an undersea adventure on the Atlantis submarine. Plus other great prizes. Just order U571 on In-Demand. Stick around after the credits to learn the secret code, and then enter the sweepstakes. Order U571 on In-Demand.
Tomorrow on the History Channel.
Gregory Powell extended his right arm and fired one shot into the face of Ian Campbell, here. Dead center, here. Ian Campbell fell back onto the ground.
Joseph Wambaugh recreates The Onion Field on Lawbreakers. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. on the History Channel. A controversial accusation.
Participation in a conspiracy to murder John F. Kennedy.
Was it truth or speculation, motive or manipulation? Uncover the facts of the arrest and trial of Clay Shaw. False Witness, tomorrow night at 9 on the History Channel. Restless spirits who roam the deep, from the darkest waters of the North Atlantic to the rocky coast of California, come face to face with the phantoms of the sea.
And a voice said, I want you.
Macabre events that frighten and fascinate on haunted ships. Coming up next on the History Channel.
We now return to This Week in History.
Our notable person of the week is New York political boss William Tweed. Through Tammany, the notoriously corrupt and powerful New York City Democratic Committee, Boss Tweed and his cronies controlled New York politics. But 127 years ago this week, Tweed was convicted of 204 misdemeanor counts of fraud. It is estimated that the Tweed ring milked over $30 million from the city.
Welcome back to This Week in History. Where were you when John F. Kennedy was shot? That question has helped define the generation of Americans who lived through one of the greatest tragedies in our nation's history. On November 22nd, 1963, JFK was gunned down in Dallas, Texas. Soon after, police arrested 24-year-old Lee Harvey Oswald for firing the shots that killed Kennedy from the sixth-floor window of the Texas School Book Depository. Since that day, the Kennedy assassination has become a national obsession. Many people do not accept the findings of the Warren Commission report, which concluded that JFK was killed by a lone gunman. We've decided to make this issue the subject of our weekly website poll. Do you believe President Kennedy was assassinated by a lone gunman? Let us know what you think by logging on to historychannel.com and casting your vote. We'll bring you the results later in the show. Josh?
Thanks, Giselle. This week in 1969, Jonathan Beckwith made a vital discovery that led to our understanding of human genetic coding. But as we're about to see, Beckwith's hopes for the advancement of knowledge were mingled with fears of genetic discrimination.
The year is 1969. Richard Nixon becomes the 37th president. The idea of peace brings people together, while a distant war breaks the country apart. It is an era when Americans question nearly every assumption and challenge nearly every myth. Not even science, a field historically unchallenged, escapes the social upheavals of the time. At the forefront of a new movement that brings science under fire is Jonathan Beckwith, a brilliant scientist with a political edge.
I had been involved politically, first of all, in anti-Vietnam War efforts, and then in 1968 when Martin Luther King was assassinated, I was concerned about aspects of what was happening in society at the time.
4 years earlier, in 1965, Beckwith arrives at Harvard University. At the time, he is considered one of the most gifted scientists in the nation.
I think there were long periods when I was a scientist where I didn't want to be a scientist. Science was what I was best at in school and high school and in college, and so I was basically carried along by that.
At Harvard, Beckwith teams up with a small group of scientists. Their mission? To find a technique to separate genes from chromosomes in E. coli bacteria. If they achieve their goal, science could finally understand how genes produce certain traits.
I do not think we had any specific ideas at the time of what we would do with it or how it would be useful. We just knew it would be useful.
After 4 years and many unsuccessful attempts, they finally achieved their goal. On November 22nd, 1969, for the first time in history, they isolate a single gene.
When we achieved this gene isolation, I think I saw these two activities of mine, the science and the politics, coming together for the first time. At first, there was the excitement of knowing we could do it. Then when you start thinking about it, this achievement, the isolation of a gene going into the outside world, you start thinking, well, what exactly does that mean, the outside world? How is it going to be used in the outside world?
By developing the technology to isolate a single gene in E. coli, a simple bacteria with genetic properties similar to human DNA, Beckwith opened the door to the world of human genetic engineering.
We felt that our ability to purify a gene was really indicative of how rapidly progress in genetics was going, and that we anticipated that in the not too distant future, this approach or other approaches like it might be extended ultimately to human beings. Then we really had to start worrying about what it meant to isolate and purify human genes.
Beckwith and his team call a press conference to sound the alarm about possible negative social and political consequences of manipulating genes.
Having to do this, having to, in particular, to talk about it and speak in public about it, forced me to think about what was it that was really concerning me. The thing that worries me most is the use of genetics to distinguish between people, to class certain people as inferior and certain people as superior.
Beckwith and his team had opened Pandora's box, and there was no way to close it. The race to unscramble all letters of the Book of Life had begun. In the next 20 years, the world would see the explosion of genetic engineering, biotech companies, the emergence of genetically modified food, and the actual cloning of a mammal. Then on October 1st, 1990, almost 21 years to the day after Beckwith first isolated the gene, the most serious genetic controversy was raised with the inception of the Human Genome Project, a multi-million-dollar public venture to map and sequence all human DNA. Scientists predicted that they could find the genetic triggers for diseases like cancer and someday prevent them. But skeptics argued that too much information could be used to discriminate against people based on their genes.
The U.S. Department of Energy.
Beckwith was appointed to the Ethical, Legal, and Social Implications Group on the Human Genome Project, a think tank dedicated to raising awareness about social and political responsibility in science.
I'm not particularly for stopping science. I'm for making choices about what science should be done. What the Human Genome Project has done is to move the potential for intervening in human genetics much more rapidly than would have been happening otherwise. I think that it is going to probably move too fast to be able to control all the potential implications. Disabled people who actually have been very concerned about genetic screening because they feel that if genetic tests are available to do prenatal screening of fetuses for particular disabilities, that there'll be pressure on people to abort such fetuses.
With the new millennium underway, the Human Genome Project is nearly complete. Today, 97% of all DNA has been sequenced in a working draft form. A finished sequence is scheduled for 2003.
I don't feel guilty about giving the world this information because I think I've done my part to ensure that genetic information and genetic technologies are used to benefit people. I wouldn't try to introduce the concept of social responsibility if I didn't feel there was the possibility that someday we'll be a more responsible community.
Jonathan Beckwith has always balanced his scientific life with his political concerns. The year after isolating a single gene, he was awarded the prestigious Eli Lilly Award for Achievement in Science, and he donated that cash prize to the Black Panthers. Coming up, it's an invention that you probably take for granted, but it may have saved your life many times over. When we return.
27 years ago this week, President Nixon was defending himself to a group of reporters. There were suspicions that he knew more about Watergate than he was letting on, and reports had surfaced that he had committed income tax fraud. the president denied any wrongdoing and delivered one of his most memorable lines. Do you know what President Nixon told reporters? The answer when we return.
My. This air conditioning sure is wonderful on a day like today. Air conditioning? What air conditioning?
York Peppermint Patty. Get the sensation.
Every touch.
A hand. It might seem ordinary, but not when it belongs to someone you love, and you'd like to slip something extraordinary onto it.
Every look.
This Christmas, come to Kay Jewelers, where our diamond and created gemstone rings are just $99.95.
Every kiss.
And every Kay diamond is hand-selected for exceptional beauty.
Every kiss begins with Kay.
Kay Jewelers.
You may not understand bubble technology, but the architects of the internet do. Agilent uses bubbles to help optical networks move at mind-blowing speeds. How does it work? Don't ask. Just enjoy. Agilent Technologies. Dreams made real.
Sunday is Guts and Glory Night. Meet the most feared men on the battlefield as snipers head out on suicide missions. Then Germany launches its ambitious Schlieffen Plan to win World War I and makes one of history's great military blunders. Followed by History Undercover with the story of last-ditch kamikaze human torpedoes. Guts and Glory Sunday presents Suicide Missions, Military Blunders, History Undercover. Sunday night, beginning at 8 on the History Channel.
Next week on the History Channel, step back in time for a look at some of mankind's most amazing achievements. The largest, the longest, and the most ingenious of structures. Witness how creativity and innovation have evolved over the centuries. Then and Now Week on Modern Marvels, all next week at 9 p.m., only on the History Channel. A Save Our History special. Halls that echo our past. Rooms that witness the decisions of our leaders. Explore the extraordinary history of America's house. This symbol of democracy has endured attacks and survived near total destruction. Each renovation chronicles the strength and resilience of our government. Discover how it has stood tall for 2 centuries. The White House 200th anniversary. November 27th at 10 p.m. on the History Channel.
If you do one thing, you've done something. Come see what a Land Rover Discovery is made of.
We now return to This Week in History.
Do you know the line President Nixon used to defend himself to reporters 27 years ago this week?
I'm not a mouse.
I'm not a liar.
I'm not a thief.
I'm not a corrupt leader.
Criminal.
I'm not involved.
I don't know.
Richard Nixon said, I'm not a crook. Not a crook.
Welcome back to This Week in History. 22 years ago this week, California Congressman Leo Ryan and a group of his aides and journalists flew to Guyana to investigate a commune being run by the Reverend Jim Jones and his cult, the People's Temple. Ryan had received reports of coercion, beatings, and sexual abuse surrounding the cult. A day after the congressman's arrival, Jones' men attacked and killed Ryan and 4 others. Jones then ordered his followers to commit mass suicide by drinking cyanide-laced punch. 913 people died in the Jonestown massacre, including 276 children. Jones himself was found dead from a gunshot wound to the head, bringing a definitive end to one of the worst cult nightmares in history.
And now a life-saving invention. According to the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, there were more than 6 million motor vehicle accidents last year, resulting in more than 41,000 fatalities. Those numbers would have been significantly higher had it not been for an invention that was patented this week in 1923.
Driving can be frustrating, stressful, and sometimes hazardous to your health. Car crashes kill over 40,000 people a year in this country. But getting behind the wheel today is nothing compared to life on the roads at the turn of the century, when cars jockeyed for space with trolleys, pedestrians, and horse-drawn buggies. The utter chaos on the streets of Cleveland in the early 1920s inspired Garrett Morgan, a local businessman and son of a former slave, to design one of the world's most successful lifesavers.
He saw a terrible accident between an automobile and a cart, a horse-drawn cart, and the little girl was very seriously injured. The horse was seriously injured. The horse had to be put to sleep.
Clearly, the present system of using traffic cops at busy intersections wasn't working.
They had little signs that they were flipping saying stop and go, blowing whistles and holding out their arms, and they were always getting sideswiped or hit.
Morgan realized a device to control the traffic was needed. He'd already successfully patented one life-saving device, the gas mask, which was put to use in World War I. So he put his mind to work, and on November 20th, 1923, he was granted a patent for the country's first traffic signal. His semaphore signal was manually operated, with moving arms to indicate stop, go, and caution. In this position, oncoming traffic is required to stop, and cross traffic is allowed to go. To change the flow of traffic, just rotate the signal. Push it down, and all traffic's advised to use caution.
The first traffic signal was placed on 9th and Euclid, which was at the time the busiest intersection in town and probably the most dangerous intersection too, because so much traffic went through downtown.
Today, that intersection is still the busiest in the city, but the signal there looks nothing like Morgan's semaphore design. So who made the changes? General Electric, realizing that traffic signals could be a real moneymaker, bought Morgan's patent for $40,000. But instead of using his movable arms design, they switched to colored lights. Red for stop, green for go. The railroads had been using these colors at crossings since the 1840s, so General Electric decided to copy. The early lights were manually operated and quite a novelty. When the small town of Canajoharie, New York got its first light in 1926, the local paper ran an article telling people which color meant what, and suggested that men cut out the article and paste it inside their hats to remember. Over the years, the lights were automated and spread across the globe.
Don't forget, anywhere you go in the world, if you're in Cairo, if you're in Zimbabwe, England, no matter where you are in the world, there's a traffic signal, a red, yellow, and green signal waiting for you.
And while we all agree a red light can be a nuisance when we're in a rush, just imagine what life on the roads would be like without Garrett Morgan's invention.
And we are eternally grateful for that invention. Like many African Americans of his generation, Garrett Morgan's formal education ended after elementary school so that he could begin working. And according to his granddaughter, when he arrived in Cleveland to seek his fortune, Morgan had only 10 cents to his name. When we return, was Blackbeard a bloodthirsty pirate or a leader ahead of his time? Don't go away. Vasco da Gama was almost halfway to India this week in 1497 when he rounded the Cape of Good Hope. He was hoping to outflank Spanish and Muslim traders by establishing a Portuguese trade route to India. Do you know how long it took da Gama and his crew to make the roughly 12,000-mile trip to India? Did it take 1.5 months 3.5 months, 9.5 months, or 2.5 years? The answer when we return.
After several hours of intense negotiations between the two leaders, an agreement has been signed. They should be appearing any second to toast this momentous occasion.
Bob, get in there. Number 2, get on that waiter. We've got a problem. Everybody get in there. Go, go, go.
Vladimir and I are pleased to announce the signing of a very powerful agreement. We can look forward to a future.
This would never happen in my country. Never. What happened?
Sorry, sir, the champagne was not Corbel.
Corbel, for people who know champagne.
It cost me something, but it was the right thing to do. I told him, he's your son, but statistics don't lie. It's just not good for a teenager to have one of these super fast cars. Insurance is all about protection. Now, if I help put that kid behind the wheel of that car, who am I protecting? You're in good hands with Allstate. Mine.
Where's the best place to find anything about history?
HistoryChannel.com.
Why go anywhere else? It's the site for information about the Civil War, Egypt, the Industrial Age, any topic, anytime.
That's one small step for man. HistoryChannel.com.
The best search in history. Sunday on the History Channel. Silent, cunning, and lethal.
When a sniper fires, he stirs up a hornet's nest.
He can, with a single shot, bring death without warning.
Snipers suffering 80% casualties.
Snipers on suicide missions. Sunday night at 8 on the History Channel. Here's our most recent $25,000 winner. Watch this week to see who's smart enough to win History IQ. Weeknights at 7:30 on the History Channel. Monday on the History Channel, the birth of aviation. Many tried, but who was the first to succeed? The Wright brothers have the picture to prove it, but was this man truly first in flight? Hear the intriguing story of Gustav Whitehead and decide for yourself. The Wright brothers controversy on an all-new History's Mysteries. Monday night at 8 on the History Channel. It can be peaceful or shatter silence with fear. Throughout history, mankind has found snow thrilling, challenging, and deadly.
By the time the people understood how serious it really was too late.
So no matter how you feel about it, you better show respect.
These are extreme events.
Spend 4 nights wrapped up in a special presentation. Whiteout, beginning Monday, December 4th at 9 on the History Channel.
If you're looking for a clean, dependable used car, truck, or SUV,
just remember this number, 99.
Because for a limited time only at Landmark Ford, every one of these vehicles are just $99 down.
And $99 a month.
Read the list.
They're all $99 down.
And $99 a month.
But obviously, they're selling fast.
So if you see something you'd like,
call us immediately.
At Landmark Ford.
Just off I-5 in Tigard.
Get more.
Spend less.
AT&T Broadband keeps you connected with programming, offers, and more. Look what we're bringing you this month.
Larry King. He asks the questions you'd ask if you were asking presidents and pundits, rogues and royalty, movie stars and shining stars. And he's been asking questions on CNN for 15 years. Larry King Live, weeknights on CNN.
AT&T Broadband. We're keeping you connected.
We now return to This Week in History.
It took Vasco da Gama 9.5 months to reach Calicut, India by way of the Cape of Good Hope, which he rounded 503 years ago this week. When he reached India, da Gama did not make much of an impression. The local ruler, who was happy with Muslim traders, was not impressed by da Gama's gifts and did not sign a trade agreement.
Welcome back to This Week in History. This Thursday, Americans celebrate Thanksgiving, commemorating the seasonal feast held by the Pilgrims and their Native American neighbors in 1621. One of the most familiar aspects of the Pilgrim story involves the Mayflower landing at Plymouth Rock. But in this week's edition of Chance Encounters, our intrepid time traveler discovers that there is something amiss about this story of the Pilgrims' legendary landing.
I
I'm Pandora, part human, part machine, brainchild of chance, a willful and restless captain of industry. From the moment of my creation, we've hurtled through time, caught in a vortex of history, fact, and fiction. Our destination, home, our only guide, the truth.
It's all strangely familiar to me, Pandora.
What is strangely familiar?
This place, this rock.
This is where the Pilgrims of the Mayflower first stepped onto America, Chance.
You? Are you a native of these parts?
You could say that. And you must be...
Miles Standish, protector of the Mayflower.
A pleasure to meet you, Miles. And where is the Mayflower?
Far across the bay, at the tip of a sandy cape.
I believe he's referring to the place now called Provincetown.
Provincetown? That's ridiculous. The Mayflower first landed at Plymouth.
Maybe you should tell him that.
For over a month, we've been searching for a home, and now we have found one. We must tell the others of this auspicious place. Thanks be to God.
Can we follow them?
I don't think we have a choice.
After our long search, we have found a fitting place to settle.
Apparently I was wrong.
Apparently.
Provincetown first, then Plymouth. Better?
Much. Should we move on, Chance?
Ready when you are.
The Pilgrims did not land on Plymouth Rock. Done.
It's true. The Pilgrims did not actually land at Plymouth Rock first. And in case you were wondering, Thanksgiving didn't become an official national holiday until 1863, when Abraham Lincoln issued the Thanksgiving Proclamation.
Very grateful that he did.
Yes, sir.
Moving on to another legendary seafarer, Edward Teach. Never heard of Edward Teach? You may know him better by his nickname, Blackbeard the Pirate.
Yep, this week in 1718, Blackbeard met a violent end. But as we're about to see, there was more than brute violence behind his legendary reign on the high seas.
Pirates of legend were fierce creatures, outlaws, wreaking havoc on the high seas. But were they completely uncivilized? Actually, many of the swashbuckling anti-heroes lived by strict pirate codes, and during wartime, their looting became legal. Take Blackbeard, for instance. Notorious pirate of the 18th century. Menacing to behold with his tangled beard and arsenal of swords, pistols, and knives. Legend has it he even stuck smoking matches in his hair to cast an evil halo.
He was an extraordinarily successful image maker. He created this image with the beard, which was unusual. This was an age in which most people were clean-shaven. That's to create an image of the devil incarnate, and he did that to scare people.
As the story goes, he was a successful pirate and a charismatic leader, but an outlaw through and through? That's open to interpretation. For one thing, war could make an honest man out of a pirate. Hired on by the government during war, that pirate would be called a privateer.
Privateers were licensed or legalized pirates, operating under commission from the government to attack enemy shipping in time of war.
During Queen Anne's War, beginning in 1701, privateers looted and pillaged legally. They were expected to hand their loot back to the Queen, where it was then divided among the government, the captain, and the crew. Blackbeard himself was most likely in the Royal Navy, or at least a privateer helping the cause. Queen Anne's War ended after 12 years of fighting, leaving thousands of sailors and privateers out of work. What was an unemployed privateer to do? With no career training programs and a resume chock full of sanctioned mayhem, piracy was one of the few job opportunities available. A nearly identical vocation, but for one aspect. Piracy was punishable by death. For a bunch of outlaws, the privateers turned pirates adhered to a surprisingly strict code of conduct on their ships. Pirates actually drew up rules and regulations, a veritable pirate constitution. like these reprinted in a 1700s Boston newspaper.
The men voluntarily signed these articles. That's an extremely modern concept of creating a form of government by the consent of the governed.
This a good 50 years before the U.S. Constitution. According to the rules, the crew elected their pirate captain and deposed him if he wasn't doing a good job. Most pirate captains commanded crews of about 100, but not Blackbeard.
The man had a crew and was actually commanding as many as 300 to 400 pirates at the height of his career. And for somebody to command that many men, says something about the man.
It says he understood the subtleties of management. According to one report, when his restless crew ran out of rum, sober and idle being a recipe for pirate disaster, Blackbeard set his sights on a ship laden with liquor. Pirate law required much more than a strong man at the helm. Most importantly to the crew, the articles outlined how the spoils would be divided, primarily an equal share between crewmen, with the captain taking 2 shares. Some of the more basic rules helped keep order on the ship.
You cannot bring women on board the ship.
They did not allow theft on board.
Any disagreement aboard the ship would be settled somewhere on an island.
Some laws even resembled an early form of workmen's compensation.
If a pirate were to lose the use of his right arm, and if he was right-handed, he would stand to get more plunder from a prize that had been captured than, say, if he had lost the use of his left hand.
Perhaps in part because of their strict democratic ways, pirate ships like Blackbeard's were immensely successful, often against fellow British ships. So successful that British authorities passed new legislation to wipe out piracy. First, massacre any pirates and earn a bounty for your trouble.
The government cracked down. They used mass executions. They executed somewhere between 400 and 600 pirates within 2 to 3 years.
However, some pirates, like Blackbeard, had amassed an armed fleet strong enough to make it difficult even for British naval ships. That's where the olive branch comes in. On September 5th, 1717, King George I offered a pardon to any pirate who surrendered, no questions asked. Either fearing his high profile would eventually catch up with him, or making a shameless ploy at going straight, Blackbeard accepted the offer. In late summer of 1718, certificate of pardon in hand, he retired to the remote island of Ocracoke in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. The events of the next few months are as murky as the waters of the inlet. Some experts believe Blackbeard continued his legendary looting, although it was never proven. What is known, a battle took place. On November 22nd, 1718, on Ocracoke Inlet, a bloody battle that ended in the great pirate's death. There, Blackbeard's fearsome head was separated from his fearsome body. Apparently, the king's pardon held little water where pirates were concerned. Blackbeard's death represents the end of an era of piracy in the New World, but the pirates themselves left behind much more than swashbuckling lore. Ironically, these famous outlaws left evidence of an advanced form of law and order.
Blimey.
Whether he's responsible for that colorful expression, shiver me timbers, others were not really sure. One of the most enduring aspects of Blackbeard's legend is that he did leave behind a substantial buried treasure.
Yeah, right. That treasure has never been found. In fact, some say it never existed in the first place.
Coming up next, an entire lake is sucked down the drain.
And don't forget to visit HistoryChannel.com to cast your vote in our poll on the Kennedy assassination. We will bring you the results when we return.
In our next hour, roam the high seas with the spine-tingling history of haunted ships. Where's the best place to find anything about history?
HistoryChannel.com.
Why go anywhere else? Any topic, any time.
It's one small step for man. HistoryChannel.com.
The best search in history.
Someday that'll be me. It really will. That plan Dave laid out with Guardian is paying off. Of course, I'll still get up early every morning just so I can remember I don't have to make a meeting. Maybe I'll grow a beard, buy an old pickup truck, become an embarrassment to the kids. Might get Dave to ride in my truck, too.
There's a place we all want to be. Go there with Guardian.
You showed me the way.
Are you tired of cleaning over and over again, only to have the same old stains come right back? Then don't clean your kitchen or bathroom. Zap it! Presenting Zap 2000, the professional strength restorer used by contractors for over 7 years. Zap 2000 is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Just pour it on, let it sit, and wipe it off. And in minutes, your surfaces are back like new. Zap 2000 is a restorer, not a cleaner. Ordinary cleaners only work on surface dirt, but Zap 2000 actually penetrates stains to restore surfaces to their original new shine.
You pour it out, you leave it set. There's no rubbing, there's no scrubbing. You go back a couple of minutes later and you just wipe it up and it's all done.
This shower head is clogged with hard water and mineral deposits. But look, after just one application with Zap 2000, it's restored like new. And watch as Zap 2000 goes to work on this old garden shovel. Years of rust just melt away. Zap 2000 with its fresh wintergreen scent works on porcelain, chrome, fiberglass, toilet bowls, rust, even hard water stains. In fact, Zap 2000 is so effective, it's guaranteed to remove any stain from any of these surfaces or your money back.
It restored my grout to bright white. It cleaned my tile, the bathroom surfaces. It lifted that soap scum off, cleaned the hard water stains, the rust, and the smell is fantastic.
Zap 2000 is so concentrated, just one bottle replaces over $50 worth of ordinary cleaners. Call now and receive Zap 2000 Restorer plus Zap 2000 Easy Spray Cleaner and 2 industrial Zap pads, all for only $19.95. But wait, call in the next 5 minutes and we'll double your order for free. That's right, 4 bottles of Zap 2000 for only $19.95. Operators are standing by, so call the toll-free number or send check or money order to Zap 2000, Box 2220, Agora Hills, California, 91376. Remember, call in the next 5 minutes to receive 2 free bottles of Zap 2000. Order now.
Tomorrow on the History Channel. When he coined the phrase, believe it or not, he became one of the most popular and profitable cartoonists in history. People couldn't get enough of his bizarre stories. The incredible life and times of Robert Ripley. Tomorrow night at 10:30 on the History Channel, where the past comes alive. It was an enormous gamble. If caught, they'd be put to death.
Making a revolution is a messy business.
Yet these legends were as human as anyone.
Hamilton had the first sex scandal.
John Adams would have needed Prozac.
The amount of alcohol consumed was staggering.
And they managed to pull off the impossible.
How they do it is an incredible story.
A world premiere miniseries, Founding Fathers, begins Monday, November 27th on the History Channel.
Now return to This Week in History.
Here are the results of tonight's website poll.
Welcome back to This Week in History. 72 years ago this week, a tiny rodent made his big debut. Walt Disney's Mickey Mouse first appeared in a black and white animated film titled Steamboat Willie on November 18th, 1928. It was the very first animated cartoon with sound. Since then, that little mouse has become one of the most ubiquitous icons in the history of the world. Now let's find out what else was going on this week in entertainment.
Some say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and media baron Henry Luce agrees. This week in 1936, he publishes the debut issue of Life magazine, the first periodical to favor photographs over the written word. Life's vivid images cover everything from war to sports to movie stars. At the magazine's peak in the 1950s, it sells over 5 million copies per week, and it will take 7 million pounds of paper and 200,000 pounds of ink to produce one issue. In another memorable first, this week in 1968, Star Trek's Captain Kirk and Lieutenant Uhura boldly go where no white man and black woman have gone before by sharing television's first interracial kiss. Many TV stations in the South refused to broadcast the episode. Apparently, it makes no difference to them that Kirk and Uhura are only kissing because they are being compelled to do so by an evil alien entity. And 17 years ago this week, there is another television milestone as 100 million viewers tune in to watch the made-for-TV movie The Day After, starring Jason Robards. In the film, the city of Lawrence, Kansas is destroyed by a nuclear missile attack. Fearing that audiences will find the story of nuclear annihilation too disturbing, many stations set up free telephone counseling services to aid distressed viewers. And that's what happened this week in entertainment.
Following the broadcast of The Day After, ABC News assembled a panel of experts, including Henry Kissinger, Carl Sagan, and Elie Wiesel, to discuss the possibility of nuclear war and its potential effects.
Kissinger defended the Reagan administration's position that we could win a limited nuclear war. On the other hand, Sagan and Wiesel argued that nuclear conflicts were unthinkable, and diplomatic negotiation was the only viable means to peace.
Now, we're going to tell you about a most unnatural natural disaster.
Would you believe that just 20 years ago, an entire lake in Louisiana disappeared? Let's find out more.
20 years ago this week, an oil company drills a seemingly harmless test hole on a small island in the middle of Lake Peigneur in Louisiana. Suddenly, the drillers realize that something has gone horribly wrong. The drilling rig appears to be collapsing beneath their feet. It seems the drill has accidentally punctured the roof of a salt mine operating beneath the lake. The men abandon the drilling platform and head for shore, just in time. Would you believe the entire 1,300-acre lake gets sucked down a whirlpool created by the hole? The whirlpool sucks up everything: the drilling rig, trucks, a tugboat, a tractor, a loading dock, 11 canal barges, 1 house trailer, and 70 acres of Jefferson Island. And like a gigantic bathtub, the 1.5 billion gallons of Lake Peigneur simply disappear down the drain.
Thankfully, there was no loss of human life during the Lake Peigneur disaster.
One man was fishing with his nephew in a rowboat when the lake started to drain. Fortunately, the water drained so quickly and with such force, their aluminum craft got stuck on the lake's bottom, and they were able to safely walk away.
Apparently, locals still jokingly refer to it as the Cajun Mount St. Helens. There you go. Well, once again, as we've seen, 1 week in time holds an amazing wealth of history. Lincoln delivered his Gettysburg Address. Scientists isolated a single gene. Garrett Morgan stopped traffic. Blackbeard died, and Lake Peigneur disappeared.
Be sure to join us next week when the case of the Coconut Grove fire is reopened. We meet a close personal friend of Jack Ruby who has some ideas on Ruby's motives. And we look back at the science and sacrifices that made the artificial heart a reality.
Look forward to all of that, all this and much more next week on This Week in History. Good night.
Restless spirits who roam the deep, from the darkest waters of the North Atlantic to the rocky coast of California, come face to face with the phantoms of the sea.
And a voice said, "I want you."
Macabre events that frighten and fascinate on haunted ships. Coming up next on the History Channel.
Where's the bacon? I smell bacon. 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 Gotta be bacon. Only one thing smells like bacon. That's bacon. Bacon, 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 bacon. There! From that bag. What's it say? I can't read. Please, please, give me what's in the bag. Chewy, yummy, smoky bacon.
There you go.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Nom, 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 nom. It's bacon!
No, it's Bacon Strips, brand dog snack from Purina. Bacon Strips. Dogs don't know it's not bacon.
It's bacon!
Every day, Ameridad helps.
That All That Glitters help you custom design something. For holiday shopping at wholesale prices, come to All That Glitters, now with 7 locations to serve you.
Now at Car Stereo City, your choice. Get the world's most popular phone, Nokia's 5160, or Ericsson's wireless internet phone, better than free. Plus, get $105 cash back and $100 in free accessories. That's right, get your choice of free phones, plus $105 and $100 in free accessories. Or how about the new Nokia 8260 free after $125 in cash back rebates from Nokia and AT&T, plus $30 in free accessories. Hurry to any Car Stereo City location, where it's always our goal to have the lowest prices in the Northwest. Every day, every hour, every sale.
Weeknights at 7:30 on Court TV. Enter the world of high-tech detectives, men and women who investigate today's most puzzling crimes. Every night, a new mystery. And you'll see how forensic experts use the latest technology to uncover the truth. Crime fighters for the new millennium. Forensic Files, a new series every weeknight at 7:30. Exclusively on Court TV. Judgment Days, Sleepless Nights.